Small talk is designed to keep you small in life and easily manipulated by the systems of this world as well as occult practices. In this video, just like all my videos, I'm going to dive into the deeper spirituality of small talk, and I'm going to explain how it isn't what it seems to be on the surface. You see, lots of times people look at small talk as being, conversation starters or a way to better get to know somebody. But there are also much darker ways that it's infiltrated into our minds that a lot of people don't realize and see. Number one, it's in the name, small talk. It's called small talk because it's designed to keep you small minded. And we see this in the various topics that make up small talk. Things like which football team won the Super Bowl, how the weather is, your job or occupation, or even your zodiac sign. And what you'll notice about these topics is that they will either entertain you to keep you distracted, not focusing on the bigger picture and things that actually matter, or focused on trivial things that don't matter, or it will be a topic that opens the door for someone to see into your life and use the information that you're giving them against you. You know something that the Romans did? Divide and conquer. What they also did is they were like, hey, you give people a drink and a show and they will never revolt. So they divided everyone up so that they would be against each other. And then they gave people drink and a show, the Colosseum. People were too busy entertained and distracted by what was going on to ever fight back against the actual problem. And then when they did fight, they were fighting amongst each other because they were divided. And this is what still goes on in this world. People are too caught up in what football team won the Super Bowl and what this celebrity is doing. And they're too distracted and entertained by this stuff. And then when people do fight, they're too busy fighting against each other because everyone's divided to see what the actual bigger manipulators are that are above everything, that are the ones pulling the string. And all small talk does is fuel this narrative by continuing to direct your focus back to the very things that were distracting you to begin with. And then when it comes to the job conversation, people oftentimes are asking this because they're trying to determine how much respect they're going to pay you based upon how much money you get paid, the position you have, or what big name company that you work for. And this all comes because most people operate from the carnal mind. And I broke it down in another video, but witchcraft is way more common than people believe it to be, and it's happening all around you constantly without you knowing. So when you share all this information about your life, people are often taking this back, gossiping about you, or casting these curses or spells over your life. How do you form a word? Spelling. What they teach in school at one point? Cursive writing. Words are curses. I want you guys to think about the world everywhere where it's colonized, because lots of countries are colonized nowadays. Think about how everything is controlled and how everything is regulated. It is done through paperwork, through contracts, through people having to sign stuff, through people having to agree to stuff. So through words, people are able to manipulate reality and control their reality, or influence and control your reality. And just like how I've referenced lots of times with bullying or with elevating or raising people's consciousness. In order to bully someone, someone projects words onto them, and the individual that the words are projected on, if they ignore them, they bounce off of them and they have no effect because they're operating at a higher level of consciousness. But for the person who's insecure and they lack confidence and self-esteem, they take those words in, internalize it, and see it as a reflection of themselves and their reality. And then they fall into this pit of despair, thus allowing themselves to be bullied. Same thing with raising people up in consciousness. When you go out and you try to speak to people about the things going on in this world, there will be some people who take that in, they accept it, and they realize, wow, this is true, and it allows them to see a new reality or perspective of the world that they did not originally see. Then you have those who are hard-headed, who want to stay stuck in their old ways, repeating old cycles, and they brush you off, they ignore you, or they continuously reject the information that you give them, even though you're operating at a higher perspective and can see things that they cannot see. And like I love to tell you guys when I get into this stuff, I am not a religious person, but I realized the Bible was a spiritual book talking about lots of spiritual things. John chapter 6 verse 63 states, "It is the spirit that gives life. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, they are life." Making it clear that words give way to life or reality, or have the power to do so. There's also a scripture in Acts chapter 2 verse 40 through 41 where I believe it was Peter who was preaching to people, and it says, "Those who gladly received his words were baptized." You see, the world or religion tries to make the baptism out to be this ritual where you grab people, dunk them underwater, and bring them back up. But the actual baptism is the shift in your mindset from becoming more consciously aware, and this can be done through words. That's why something like even the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 25 through like 30 or 31, it gives a parable of the baptism, but it identifies it as the washing of water by the word, because words have the ability to influence or shape reality and make people more consciously aware or bind them down with contracts. So no, I'm not saying every single conversation has to be super deep and that you shouldn't talk to people at all about who you are, some characteristics that make you up. But what I am saying is that you guys really need to be able to tap into your discernment and intuition and be able to tell who you're talking to, and be careful of who you share information with, and also realize the level that the people that you're talking to are on, because lots of times people come your way consciously or unconsciously aware, and they're keeping you small-minded with their conversation.